Okay, hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 13th, 2015. We are having a recorded consumer math class today because I am out at Keystones for the rest of the week. So taking a look at the bullet points, the first one says just that I'm out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. Today you want to watch this recording, and then homework 9.05 goes along with the lesson that we're learning today. Okay, so quick look at our week. On Monday, we did automobile insurance. We did that together in a live session. Again, today we're going to do section 9.05, other car topics. And then Friday, I'm out again. You're going to read your K-mail and look for another recording from me, which will be a Unit 9 review. If you're not sure what's due on what day, the best way to find out is to look at our course announcements and just follow that. Goals for today. The title of this section is something like other car topics. But we're really going to be talking about computing rental costs if you're going to rent a car. And we're going to look at when you go to rent a car, they charge you in many different ways. They charge you for the number of days that you have the car and the number of miles that you drive the car. They charge you sales tax, and they might charge you insurance. So there's a lot of costs that we're going to have to look at in order to compute your total rental car cost. And we're also going to look at a table that will help us compare the costs of two cars. Okay, so if we had been in a live session today, I would have put the slide up, which has a picture of Santa Claus, and he says, I need something with a huge cargo rack and unlimited mileage, and he's at the car rental agency. So this is kind of a silly cartoon, especially in May. But I would have asked you guys the question, why would someone need or want to rent a car? What are some of the different reasons? So if you want, you could pause the recording right now, maybe jot down on a piece of paper a couple of ideas that you have. Okay, so you probably came up with some things like, first of all, if you're going on vacation, that's a really big reason why people like to rent a car. If you fly somewhere, you arrive at your destination and you need to drive around, you might need a car to get around. You might rent a car to go on a road trip. It might be cheaper to drive a rental car across the country and back than it would be to use your own car and to take all that wear and tear on your own car. Another big reason why people rent cars is if you're not going on vacation at all, but your car is in the shop and it needs a repair. You might need to rent a car for a few days or maybe for a week. So lots of different reasons you rent a car. It might be because you don't have a car, or it might be because you do have a car, but you can't use it for some reason. Some of the factors that are going to go into the cost of a rental car, and I talked about some of these on the opening slide, how far you're driving, how long you're going to have the car, whether or not you want insurance, sales tax, and then these other two bullet points. These are just some items that I have found in looking for rental cars. If you want to have car seats available in your car, like if you have young children traveling with you, that'll be an extra charge. If you want XM radio or something special, or maybe a DVD player, that would probably cost extra as well. Along with the type of car that you're renting, that would affect it as well, whether you're renting a sedan or an SUV. Okay, so the first problem that we're going to look at a scenario where we want to rent this subcompact car from Avis. Avis is a car rental agency. And if you want to just maybe pause the recording for a minute and just take a look. This is the an actual snapshot of their website, and it shows the type of car, and it shows all these different aspects about the car. So it's non-smoking. It fits up to 5 people. You can fit one large bag and one small bag. I think that's what that means. It might have 2 or 4 doors, depending on the car that you get. It has a radio, it has air conditioning, and it's automatic. Remember, that would be really important to you, especially if you don't know how to drive a manual car. And then down here, see if you can figure out what this is. This is like a little gas can, and then it has these 2 numbers. So this is the fuel economy of this car. This car can be driven 23 miles for every gallon of gas in the city and 32 miles for every gallon of gas on the highway. Okay, you'll be traveling for 4 days and you will travel 500 miles. Remember, I said they're going to charge you based on days and miles. This car costs $40.99 per day to rent, and you're also charged 25 cents per mile. The first 100 miles are free, and that's whoops, just lost my slide there. That's going to play into this as well. So there's 3 steps here. First, you need to find your daily cost, the cost based on the number of days, and then your mileage cost, that's the cost based on the number of miles, and then finally you'll add those 2 together to get your total cost, okay? So your daily cost is the daily rate. That is $40.99 per day times the number of days. You're traveling for 4 days. Okay, so I'm going to reveal, and I would encourage you throughout this recording, when you feel like you're ready to just jump into a problem and you've heard enough from me, pause the recording, work it out on your own, and then you can, keep going and see if you have it right. Okay, so the daily cost is $40.99 times 4, $163.96. Mileage cost is your mileage rate, 25 cents, times the number of miles. And this is where you need to be really careful. You're traveling 500 miles, but they have a deal where your first 100 miles are free. So the number of miles I'm being charged for is 500 minus 100, which is just 400 miles. So my mileage cost is 25 cents times 400, which is $100. Last step, cost of the rental, you add together your 2 answers from parts 1 and part 2. So you're going to add your daily cost plus your mileage cost, $163.96 plus $100. And your final answer should be $263.96. Okay, on the next slide, we're going to do another one. This is your study guide number 13, and this problem is just exactly like the problem that we just did. Okay, with no picture, just words. So I'm going to read the problem to you, and then I'd like you to pause the recording and try to work it out on your own. You rented an SUV for 3 days and drove it 350 miles. The daily rate was $45.28 per mile, with the first 50 miles being free. What is your rental charge? Okay, pause the recording now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answer now. So your daily cost should be your daily rate of $45 times 3 days, which is $135. Your mileage cost is your mileage rate of 28 cents times the number of miles, which is 300, which is equal to $84. Remember, 300 miles, where did we get that? Well, 350 miles minus 50 of them were free, so 300 total miles. Last step, add them together. $135 plus $84 is $219. Again, that's study guide number 13. Okay, so in this next problem, we're still looking at a rental car, but we are now going to incorporate sales tax and insurance. Okay, you guys have calculated sales tax on all sorts of things in this course, so you should be pros at it by now. Let's read the problem and look at what we have to do. You know that the cost of your rental is $326. You now decide that you want to add on insurance. Insurance is $21 per day, and there will also be 6% tax applied to your total. What will the final cost of your rental car be? Okay, so we're going to figure out, so this is really like a next step from the problem that we did earlier. They already figured out the cost of the rental, so this total cost, $326, that already incorporates the number of days and the number of miles. This is like a part B to that problem. So from where we are now, we need to find the sales tax and the insurance and then add everything up. Okay, so the sales tax is the cost of the rental times the sales tax percent. So it's $326 times 6%. Think about how you want to write 6%. It should be 326 times 0.06, which gives you $19.56 in sales tax. Your insurance is the cost of the insurance times the number of days. So it's $21 for insurance. And I'm pausing for a second because I don't see the number of days here. So let's, for 5 days. I think that this problem may actually be a continuation of the previous problem. Okay, so $21 times 5 days. When you have a problem on the homework, it should definitely tell you that how many days. That's a mistake right there. So $21 times 5 days would give you $105. I have another problem for you guys to practice, so don't worry about the fact that we had a little mistake there. And then your total cost of the rental is the original cost of the rental, $326, plus your sales tax, plus your insurance. Okay, so $326, that was given to you in the problem, plus $19.56, that's the sales tax that you found, plus $105, that was the insurance that you found. Add that all up, and the total cost of your car is $450.56. Next slide, we have study guide number 14. This is just like the one we just did. So I'm going to read the problem to you, and then I want you to pause it and try and work it out on your own. Your rental costs for a 5-day trip are $500 in rental fees plus 6% tax, plus $25 a day car insurance. What total did you pay for the rental? Okay, so pause the recording now. Okay, so your sales tax is the cost of your rental, $500, times the sales tax, 6%. So you should have 500 times 0.06 is equal to $30. Your insurance is the cost of your insurance times the number of days. $25 a day times 5 days is $125. Total cost of the rental, you have to go back and grab your original cost, $500, and then add on the two amounts that you just found, plus $30 plus $125 is equal to $655. Okay, the last activity we're going to do is we are going to look at this graph, and we're going to compare the costs of two different cars. So the cost of owning two vehicles are represented by the graph. The maroon line, that's this purple line right here, is an SUV, and the blue line is a car. Okay, so first question says, which vehicle initially costs the most? And I want you to think about what the word initially means. Initially means at the beginning of time. This is time down here at the bottom. It says years after purchase. So at the beginning of time, 0 years after purchase, basically you just bought it. Which line it has a higher amount, the blue or the purple? Well, the blue one is up higher. So the blue line must be the one that costs the most initially. Go back to your word problem. What does the blue represent? Blue line represents a car. So the car costs the most initially. Next question, which vehicle costs the most in the long run? Again, go down here to your time axis. The long run is all the way over here, all the way out to 6 years. Go up. Which colored line has a higher value in the long run? It looks like the maroon line is now. Go back to the word problem. The maroon line represents an SUV. So the maroon line costs the most in the long run. Their costs are closest to the same during what year? If you want to know when their costs are close to being the same, you want to look at where the lines cross. They cross right here. So go down to the bottom and see where you are. It looks like we're at about 3 years. This is 2, this is 4. So right here where the lines cross, this is about 3 years. Okay, and then finally, the cost of the SUV is increasing by about how much per year? They're asking about the SUV, that's the purple line. So you want to look at what is the cost of the SUV at year 0? And then what is the cost of the SUV at year 1? And then let's subtract those two values. So at year 0, it's at about $19,000. At year 1, this is about $23,000 right here. So to see how much it's increased in 1 year, per year, you do 23,000 minus 19,000, which is about $4,000 that it's increasing per year. Okay, our goals for the day were to look at rental car costs and to compare car costs with tables. What's next? Please do 9.04B homework today and 9.05 homework tomorrow. And please continue to check your K-Mail every day this week for recordings and assignments from me. Have a great day.